So we're going to talk about volume. That is the next unit. We're going to do volume and then we'll do surface area. If you get the yellow sheets out that are up there in that front, each of you get a yellow sheet. Every one of the formulas that we'll go through is actually included on that sheet. If you go down and look at the section that says volume, you will see that all the formulas, you don't have to memorize them. This aid is exactly the same you get on the STAR test, which means all you got to do is know where to get the formula. Does that make sense? The most important thing I can say is this, and you can write it. Big B equals the area of the base. And in case of volume, that area is all circulars. So every formula we have down here, you'll see, like this first one where it says volume equals big BH, or volume equals pi r squared, because the area of a circle is pi r squared. Look on your yellow sheet. It says the area of a circle is pi r squared. So you don't have to memorize anything. Does that make sense? This is all there. Use that yellow sheet constantly. So a cylinder is pretty straightforward. We played with that before. To find the volume, all you're going to do is multiply the area of the base by the height. And if you think about that, if I have area of the base and I have a height of 1, that's a really terrible. I have a height, that's a terrible drawing. I have the height of 1. Really, all I'm doing is multiplying the area of the base, right? So each time I stack on a layer or a new number, all I'm doing is adding that area again. So it's the area of the base, which in case of a circle is pi r squared. Every one of the volumes, the area of the base will be pi r squared times the height. Does that make sense? Now, we talked about Thursday about a cone being literally the same thing as a cylinder times 1/3. Do you remember that? The volume of a cone is 1/3 the volume of a cylinder with the exact dimensions. So volume of a cone is 1/3 the area of the base times the height. Or you can look at it another way. It could be written as, for those of you who want to, especially with your calculators, you could write it as pi r squared height. Whoops, that's not a height, that's a b. It's a height that kept going. Height over 3. Does that make sense? Remember, when you're using your calculators, you got to use the parentheses here. If you don't, you're going to get a strange answer that won't make you happy. Is that okay so far? Now, the sphere is the last one we're going to talk about. And a sphere is a perfect circle. It's what we call a perfect bowl. So from the center to any out is your radius, and it's the same distance. So volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. This guy is important. This is where you're going to mistake it. Pi r cubed. Okay? You can also write this, if you're doing for calculator, 4 times pi r cubed over 3. Does that make sense? A little different? They're the exact same formula. If you use your calculator, you can also do this. Just put the fraction inside of parentheses. Does that make it easier? Yep. All right. So each day we're going to look at one of these specifically. Today will be cylinders.